Hello everyone, this is my second class on the topic of Parkinsonism. This is under the subject of physiotherapy in neurological conditions. So when we talk about Parkinsonism, I have already said that this is a neurological disorder, and this is usually manifested by the presence of bradykinesia, by the presence of tremor, rigidity, and balance and incoordination. So in the last class, I have described in details about Parkinsonism and its clinical features, and today's class will mainly focus on the physiotherapeutic management, that is the PT management of Parkinsonism. So we have classified the PT management of Parkinsonism under basic 7 points. So number 1 point is reduction of rigidity. As I have said in the previous class, that rigidity is one of the cardinal features of Parkinsonism, and rigidity is usually an increased in the muscle tone, which is manifested as contraction of agonist and the antagonist muscles. And in Parkinsonism, rigidity has to be reduced to make a patient more feasible in doing his activities of daily living. And how can rigidity be reduced? Rigidity can be reduced in the form of doing general relaxation exercises, Jacobson's relaxation exercises, rocking techniques with the help of a vestibular ball. PNF stretching can be given, then yoga asanas can be given, and even biofeedback helps in reducing the rigidity in case of a Parkinsonism patient. Number 2 point is maintaining the flexibility of the musculoskeletal system. So the musculoskeletal system has to be maintained, as in form the patient has to be independent in doing his activities of daily living. The patient should not be too much of rigid. The patient should be as flexible as possible according to the age and other factors. So flexibility can be achieved by doing various forms of exercises depending upon the muscle power. Passive exercises can be given, which is done with the help of the therapist, or even active assisted exercises, or active exercises by the patient himself, or even at times resisted exercises can be given depending upon the muscle power. Stretching, which is really helpful in improving the flexibility of the muscle. Stretching can also be given in two forms: either passive stretching, that is by stretching, that is the stretching then done by the physiotherapist, or even active stretching, that is stretching done by the patient himself. Range of motion exercises helps in improving the flexibility. There is range of motion exercises of various joints, even the smaller joints and the larger joints. Range of motion exercises can be given also in passive form or even active form. Active gives a more valuable feedback to the patient, and even PNF techniques of hold relax and contract relax can be given to improve the flexibility of the musculoskeletal system. Number 3 is balance training. As I have said in the previous class, that balance is severely impaired in case of a Parkinsonism patient, and the patient tries to or tends to fall down more often. So balance has to be improved in a Parkinsonism patient, and that can be done in the form of doing various balance exercises. So whichever tool what we have tried in assessing the patient in form of a balance assessment, those balance tools or balance assessment tools rather can again be used to improve the balance of a Parkinsonism patient, like the form of Romberg's exercises, or sharpened Romberg exercises, or maybe one leg stance exercises, or even maybe exercises like in the form of a vestibular ball. A physio ball can be used, and the patient can be made to sit in a physio ball and do exercises both to improve the static and dynamic balance, and even trunk rotational exercises in sitting position and then in standing position. Preferably sitting position is done earlier, so as that the center of gravity should be as low as possible to the base of support. So first of all should be done in sitting, and then in standing, and then even reaching out activities or multi-directional reach activities can be done. So balance has to be improved for the patient. The next is number 4, there is coordination exercises. So when we talk about coordination, we already know the equilibrium and non-equilibrium coordination tests, like a finger to finger test, or maybe finger to therapist finger test, tap exercises, or maybe walking in a straight line, walking sideways, walking backwards, walking in a tandem walking, or tandem standing, or even standing on one leg. So those kind of equilibrium and non-equilibrium exercises can be done to improve the coordination of the patient, and even Frankel's exercises can be given. Number 5 is breathing exercises. So in severe cases of Parkinsonism, even the cardiovascular system or the respiratory system is impacted. So in that case, breathing exercises can be given in the form of diaphragmatic breathing exercises or segmental breathing exercises, and even spirometry can be promoted. Number 6 is functional re-education. So this basically functional re-education means to re-educate the functions of the patient which the patient has been impaired. So functional re-education means you can train the patients like in turning in bed. Maybe a patient is immobile or cannot turn in bed much, so passively it can be taught first, and then with active assistance, or maybe even then later on actively the patient can know how to turn in bed. So turning on bed, or maybe getting from lying position to a sitting position. So in this form, a patient can be given to learn how to do bridging exercises. Patient can be made to learn how to do prone on elbow exercises, and then patient can be given to know how to go for sitting to standing exercises. Once the patient is able to sit and the static and dynamic balance is improved in sitting, patient can also be taught how to go for sitting to standing exercises, first passively, then active assistedly, and then even actively how to get up from sitting position to a standing position. And once the patient is confidence in a standing position, the patient can be asked to move a leg forward, so moving a leg forward and backward and then sideways, and then it can be promoted to the walking position of a patient, and the patient can be promoted to a gait training. In a gait training, the patient can be given initially with the help of the therapist. The patient get the therapist help. The patient can also take help from assisted devices. Preferably parallel bar and walkers are being avoided in Parkinsonism because they increase the confinement zone of the patient. So those are usually avoided, and then patient can be made to train the gait, so that the fascinating gait or the freezing gait, whichever the patient had as an effect of Parkinsonism, can be reduced, and the gait components which are missing can be improved in the patient. So functional re-education also includes the gait training. And then number 7, there is improvement in the psychological well-being. So the patient should be morally boosted up, as the patient suffers from dementia or the patient suffers from social neglect. So those things should be cut off as far as possible. The patient should be given a high confidence. The patient party should be, or the patient's relatives should be made to know how to deal with the patient, and the patient should be given a moral confidence and should be socially acceptable, at least in the family. So these were the 7 aims of, you can say, the physiotherapeutic management of Parkinsonism. So basically it's a very practical topic, the physiotherapeutic management, but as far as possible, this is the 7 theoretical points which a student must learn about Parkinsonism patient. So this was my class on physiotherapeutic management of Parkinsonism. Thank you.